Now welcome back again to the channel, I do Agri. Today we're going to do a bit of a machinery tour. I'm going to show you all the tools, implements and machines that Now welcome back again to the channel, I do Agri. Today we're going to do a bit of a machinery tour. We're going to have a look at all the tools, implements and machines that we have here on the farm at the moment. I'd love to know your favourite bits of kit. So let me know down in the comments below some of the favourites, and if you have any questions I'd love to hear that as well. I'm going to start over here with the rollers. So we have this 8-foot Fleming flat roller, and I was thinking we bought it about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm not sure the year it was made or the year we bought it now. We did buy it new. But it has a 150-year sticker for the Fleming, 1860 to 2010. So I'd be amazed if that was 10 years old already. But it could be. Time is flying, so it could be 2010. But I'd have to double check on that with my granddad. But yeah, 8-foot Fleming flat roller used for leveling the land. Leveling out ruts in the fields and that come springtime and during the summer. It's a handy job for the land. We also have this 4.5-foot, 5-foot concrete roller. Obviously has no frame on it. Used to have an angle iron frame with the timber bearings on them, but that rotted and broke on us a few times, gave us a bit of trouble. I don't know how I think that broke on the road once and we had to tow it up somehow with some metal strap and it did give us a lot of trouble, but I do want to make a frame for it and weld up something, make some timber bearings again for it, and be able to use that in some of the fields with the small 10-foot gates, where it's harder to get the big roller into it. But look out for that project on the concrete roller. I'm going to go in now and we'll have a look at the sprayer that we have. So this is our sprayer. It's a Taral 400. Taral, 400 litres. I think it's a great sprayer for a small farm like this. You don't need anything major. We used to have a couple of Hardy sprayers before this. They were grand too. Like, Hardy's a great brand, well renowned for their sprayers, but the frame on them and the boom wasn't galvanised, it was just painted. The rust would come onto them fairly quickly. We had a lot of trouble with the nozzles. That was probably our fault more than the nozzles themselves or the sprayer. But we had a lot of trouble with some of the nozzles, and they were just a bit bigger and awkward. I'd say it was a bigger boom, alright, wider, but the big X shape behind you. You know, less visibility down the road, easier to get caught on a tree or a bush and break a nozzle that way. But I think this is a great design. This boom folds up nice and neat behind the sprayer. It's all galvanized, as I said. The pipes for the nozzles aren't fixed in any spot. They can swivel in those little holders. So even if you do get caught on a bush, which I did once this year, nothing breaks. It's great design. I think this great sprayer, and if I was to go and get a sprayer myself, I would definitely look at some Taral sprayers. Yeah, so that's that one. We'll go on to the rest of the kit. Now those of you familiar with the channel will recognise this cattle trailer. We are currently doing a restoration series on it at the moment. I've replaced the tyres, the wiring, the plug, fixed the lights. We're going to have a look at removing the rust, the surface rust on it, giving it a bit of paint. We have some work to do on the mudguards. That involves a bit of welding and fabricating there. Beat those out, or maybe just make new ones altogether and weld them up. Have to look at the brakes. The jockey wheels on it is pretty good. The chassis is fairly good. There's not much wrong with it now, but those few bits and bobs. A lot of people suggesting in some of the videos to maybe put a ramp here on the back, make it handier and safer for loading animals, but we'll see about that. I think it's a good idea. I don't know, is it worth the time or the money doing it for such a small trailer? You'd be better off just buying something bigger for the cattle, but we can't do that at the minute. So it could be a job. It could be a job now for the next few months, maybe in the summertime, but we will see. But yeah, grand trailer, great trailer for sheep, a few lambs. Very handy for going to the local mart. You don't need to bring big massive yoke with you. Here we have the tractor Case 4230 that we've had on the farm about a year and a half now. It has a Quickie Q750 front loader on it. I'll throw in some better pictures while I'm at it, instead of pulling her out. Just have some pictures there from the summer, the springtime, and some from maybe last winter. But on the back of it, we have a homemade weight box there. It's an old transport box, rusty transport box. It was fit for the scrap. It was in the scrap pile, but I pulled it out and I put an old concrete pillar in there, a bit of extra concrete in it, and I use it for the foddering most of the time. It's probably a bit too heavy on the back of the case. I'm not sure what the weight of it is exactly, but it does the job. Cheap and cheerful, like you don't need too much. Not the safest thing. I'll probably get rid of it soon and make another one out of some new steel and a bit of concrete, like. But does the job. Here we have our mowing. This did all the mowing for the silage and the hay this year. It was our first year using it. We only got it this year, but it's a 8-foot Morangan mower, disc mower. First disc mower we've ever used or had on the farm here. We had a series of Mesco roll drum mowers before that, and I absolutely hated them. So did my granddad. They were just dreadful. Always breaking. You'd always hit a stone and the whole disc on the bottom would come off, or you'd shear a shaft or something. There's always something going wrong with them. Horrible machines, and even when they were working, you'd be in the field all day just going around in circles, and it'd make a mess of the corners. We couldn't deal with it anymore, and we said even though this is a bit too big for our farm, like it mightn't be necessary, just to cut out the hardship there, we said we'd get something bigger, easier to use. So we went for the disc mower, but we're sorry we didn't get something with the conditioner on it. It is a great mower, does a good job, but we just I don't mind going in after with the hay bob to shake it out or row it up, but my granddad thinks it would just be a lot easier if we could just cut it and let the contractors come in and bale it up as soon as they can, and not us doing two jobs when you only really need to do one. So we might look at trading it in again for something with the conditioner on it. It would have to be trailed, I'd say. At that stage, that would be interesting as well. But yeah, great mower. It has a Comer bed on it, so you know it's good quality, galvanized frame there, well designed, well built. I wouldn't have much to complain about that mower as we have it now. But yeah, we'll look into possibilities for the future there, the way things are going. Now, in here we have the hay bobber. Has a bench stand, of course. That's my fault from this year. I gave the hay bobber a bit of a battering this year. I wasn't nice to it. Few mishaps. I tried hay bobbing on the case for the first time. We usually put it on the Massey. And bad idea in the end. I think the leveling arms on the case need a bit of work. One's higher than the other, and it got binded up on the mower as well at one point doing one meadow. The mower wouldn't go down all the way. I need to look at the linkage on the case anyway. But this hay bobber is really it's fit for the 265, and we'll only use that for doing the turning and the rowing up in the future. But it's one of my favorite machines to use. One of my favorite jobs in the summertime is shaking out and rowing up the hay or the silage. I find it very satisfying and even relaxing at times when everything is going well. But behind me we have a Bale Spike. Again, it was bought brand new about 10 years ago. Not very used, not well used at all. We used it, I think, for 1 or 2 seasons when the family here was helping out our granduncle on his farm, and he had saggy bales and they were stored in an awful wet spot, and we only had the 265 at the time ourselves. He had the 135, and we just weren't getting anywhere with the Bale Lifters that we had. So my grandfather bought this for that job that year, but we've never used it really here on the farm ourselves. It just sits there really. Neither of us have any use for it with the 2 Bale Lifters and the soft hands that we have. There's just no need of it really. I might sell it on, or we'll find a use for it. I might weld up brackets to put it on the front loader because it might be handier that way. But sure, we'll see. Again, familiar viewers of the channel will recognise this hopper is to go and replace the hopper on one of our small manure spreaders that we had. Again, not a very necessary job, but I said I'd give it a go. It would be fun to make that hopper. It's kind of a square pyramid shape instead of the cone that used to be on it. Just an interesting project to me, but we'll be looking to get that done soon as well, before the springtime, before we need to spread any manure. So again, look out for that one. Out here by the slats, park our 265, Massey Ferguson 265, gives the cows a bit of shelter. It's a 1986 tractor, used to be a UK council tractor, that's why it has the yellow paint showing through. It wasn't an industrial Massey Ferguson, but it was a council tractor, I believe. And I've just noticed recently that it has these rims on it that seem to be fit for adding jewels, but maybe one of you would know more about that than I do. But on the back of it we have our heavy duty Fleming Bale Lifter, like the flat roller I showed you at the start. It has the 150 year sticker on it, and I know this wasn't bought in 2010, so that sticker's on fair few machines, I suppose, but this was bought, I think, 3 years ago, if not 2 or 3 years ago at the most. We got it from the lads down in Whelan's in Agri, the Massey dealers, because we had a look at the standard Fleming Bale Lifter at the local co-op, but it just, you need to go heavy duty when you're getting a Bale Lifter. It's the best job. It's a grand joke. I did a bit of a review on this now, and there was a few things that I would change if I was designing it myself. And since then I have found another problem, and it's that the actual arms on the lifter seem to be a bit too long. You'd fit the 4 foot bale nearly there, and you'd have like 6 inches of the 6 inches of those arms sticking out beyond the bale. So it is a bit too long for the bales that are made here in Ireland, but anyway, it does the job. Doesn't really make a difference, and we're happy with it so far. Here we have a transport box, standard transport box, random make on it. It wouldn't be Fleming or anything. It's just yeah, some random manufacturer, but probably 5 or 6 years old. Again, maybe 10 years at this stage. The time is flying. Heavy duty, well built. It's lasting well. Only a little bit of surface rust on it. I might repaint it again soon, because in my head that's a fairly new machine. It has very little wear on it, and plenty of life left in it. So yeah, maybe a bit of paint on that. Power wash first, and should be looking well. But that transport box gets a lot of work on a small farm like this. Before we had the front loader, you used it for all sorts of jobs, for dung, carting water, whatever you're doing. Transport box and a Bale Lifter and a tractor are some of your essential bits of kit for a farm like ours. Another Bale Lifter there, random make. We didn't buy that ourselves. I think that was from the same farm beyond. Not the best built yoke either. It does the job. I'm happy to use it in the summertime, but yeah, not the best built yoke. This tab I don't think should be pointing straight up like that. The way it's designed bursting off a lot of bales, just like that. But anyway, handy to have. Always good to have spare Bale Lifter that way. So we have the soft hands as well. So it's a Polish made soft hands. I was the one that picked these out last year, or around the same time we bought in the case 4230. We were getting the front loader. First time we've ever had a front loader. This is the first bit of kit we bought in for it. So I had a look all over the internet, and I was just looking for the best design of them. The hands on these are a good shape. The hydraulic ram is well protected with this heavy bit of box iron. I just think, yeah, good design all around. And it was a good price the time we bought it too, so I am fairly happy with it. I use it all the time foddering. It's great in the summertime, bringing in silage and even hay. Just a great yoke. I don't find any need to buy any other yoke for handling bales while we have that, but we might get a silage grab with a few tines on it in the future, because then awful lot of you are suggesting that as well. We'll have a look at the last few bits. So this bucket is for the front loader, and we didn't get it new, we got it used, and it pretty much came with the case tractor off the same lads anyway. Grand thing to have. We were buying the tractor and we didn't have any implements to put on the front loader, so we said we'd ask him to throw that in. And yeah, it's just great to have the bucket there when you need it, with the quick attach headstock on it. You can just pick it up and just go. Like it's a massive job. Again, it's a game changer, absolute game changer. Finally, or second to last here, we have our major topper. I did a bit of a restoration video on this back in the springtime as well. I reskinned it, gave it a new skin, got rid of all the old rusty sheet metal on top, cut it all away, and I cut out some new bit of 2mm steel, welded it in, gave it all a bit of a paint, sharpened the blades there on the bottom, and it'll go for another 5 to 10 years hopefully. It's probably older than me. This topper was well rusted, well used now. It's definitely got its money worth, but my granddad does like this machine, and I said I'd like to keep it good for him and see it being used as much as we can. We have finally an old buck rake here. You can probably barely see it between the grass. Not a buck rake actually, I got corrected on that. It's a cock lifter for cocks of hay, but the tines on it are all bent. We would like to bend them back. We've given it a go a few times. We might try it again with the 2 tractors or something and a few straps, but old cock lifter there. Very old bit of kit, bit of vintage stuff that we have. I said we'd hold on to it. We were always debating, do we get rid of this stuff, do we throw it in the scrap, or do we keep it just for the crack? Could always be used for an odd job here and there. We have the space. I think just keep something like that. It is hard to find something like that if you were looking. But that's all the machinery that is used in the farm. I plan to buy in a few small bits myself, just to help with handling and the logistics around the place. few bits and bobs in mind anyway, but we'll see about that in the next year or so. But just before we end, I'll show you some of the things we don't use. So this is an old Bale Lifter we have. Great Bale Lifter. Just a great design. Wherever or whoever made it, I'd nearly copy it, keep it there just to take dimensions off it, because it is a good Bale Lifter. Probably used for 20-25 years itself. Still has loads of steel and life left in the frame there, but just the arms gave way a few times. It was repaired a few times, just cracked there on the frame the other side, and we said we'd throw it out, like there's no need repairing it again. But it was a great yoke, and definitely got its money worth that way. But just thought I'd mention that one. And we have an old hay turner here, hay rake. They'd be very common, old bit of kit when tractors first started coming out and being more common on the small farms here. But we've had a few of them. We never really used them now here in my lifetime. I got this one going one year to rake up a bit of grass in the garden. Sorry. And we always had two out in the pile of scrap. One had the rubber belts like that one, but one had the chain driven big steel chains on them, and I think that's still out there, but very hard to come across. Interesting machines, alright. But I would be looking to maybe do her up, get her going, just as a wee project. It's not gonna be doing any major work, but again, maybe for raking up the garden or little bits like that, and have the bit of vintage machinery around. But that's the tour of the machinery. Now that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your favourite bit of kit is down in the comments, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them as well. Have a good one, and thank you for watching.